What is up, homies? Young boy Steven Lucido here, and I'm back at again with another live broadcast. We're back at again with some more side stories. Today we're about to do the story of Yuri and Monika, which is Reflection. Before we begin, I think I remember correctly. When I did Trust on Sunday, I think I said, before I started, I think I said, it's been 3 weeks, maybe? I think that's what I said. I actually lied about that. It's actually been 2 weeks. Like, I had like a 2 week off, and like it's been a while, since I did this game. So yeah, sorry for lying about that. I didn't realize it till now. Anyways, we've already got done with Balance. Now we're about to do the story between Yuri and Monika. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Reflection. Oh, let's not to mention, there's any exotic words that I can't pronounce. I'm sorry, I do the best that I can, it just never works for me because I may or may not have a speech impediment. Anyways. Am I bothering you? No. Okay, just checking. It's hard to tell since you've always looked so into it when you're reading. It makes me scared to interrupt. Well, it's within my expectations to be interrupted when I read here. It's mainly when I'm by myself that I don't like it. That makes sense. I guess you're here in the first place when you're more ready to socialize, even if it takes a little bit of prodding. It's not so bad to be social if I let others do the work. So I can be healthy to put myself in a social environment every now and then. It's mostly difficult when I don't know anyone, or these are too many people, or everyone is being too silly for me to keep up with. Yuri glances across the room at Sayori and Natsuki. Sayori has her head cocked back and her mouth open, trying to catch pieces of a cookie that Natsuki is lobbing into the air, but the pieces keep bouncing off her face and hitting the floor. Maybe I should say something. No need, they just ran out of the cookie. What a waste. They've really become good friends, haven't they? I'm happy. Sayori seems particularly good at making that happen, but the two of them are both on the energetic side, so I suppose it works out well. Yeah, come to think of it, you and I haven't had many chances to talk one-on-one, have we? Though that may be particularly my fault, since I'm supposed to be the one engaging club members. Not at all. I've probably formed a habit of drawing minimal attention to myself. The responsibility is equally on me, at least to display some openness to engage. Well, what about during times like lunch? Do you meet up with friends? I just read. Oh, but I like it that way. It feels nice to be carried off again after a morning of classes. Do you always read fantasy? No, not always. I suppose it's all I've read recently, but only because I'm in the middle of this series. There are still 2 more books after this one. I guess those long books suit you well, since you spend so much time reading. Well, fantasy may be my favorite, but after that, I'm more or less indiscriminate, I don't know if I pronounced that right, to genres. I'll read anything with depth and maturity. Oh yeah? Even like romance? Well, there are a lot of books that have elements of romance in them. Oh, come on, Yuri. You know what I mean. Monika lowers her voice. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I won't tell anyone if you do too. Maybe more when I was in middle school. I mean, I was really lonely, and people were mean to me a lot. Aw, that sucks. So it kind of felt like, please don't make me think about the past. Sorry, I just got super curious. You know, we should totally pick out a romance novel to read. That would be so much fun. Absolutely not. Really? Even if it was just between us? Try taking someone who has no shame, like Natsuki. Ouch. Sorry. I swear I didn't mean that. Well, I guess it was my fault for pressing you. I'm like that for things in my past, too. You know, things I feel too embarrassed to re-experience. There's nothing wrong with growing out of things. It happens to everyone. For instance, Natsuki's interest in manga reminds me quite a bit of how intense I used to be about my own interests. It makes me think that she'll likely grow out of it too. Hey, were you two talking about me? No. We were just... Oh, We were just talking about how our interests have changed over the years. When did you get into manga, Natsuki? Like a couple of years ago, I guess. I was already sort of into it before that, but I wasn't really going hard until then. Oh yeah? What was it that inspired you to get more into it? I don't know. I guess... let me think. It was after I discovered a series that I really liked. Yeah, I was just like really fed up with a lot of things, and I got super into this one series that I really related to. I guess I had an edgy phase where I just hated everyone around me and wanted to be by myself. Hey, kind of like Yuri. Monica? Sorry. That's completely wrong, so it's still cool that you both really found your thing. They're almost like opposites, but it sounds like they've helped you a lot through hard times. You know it. Wow, what the heck? Is that book even bigger than the last one you were reading? It's technically slightly longer, but not by very much. How high do you think it would go if you stacked up the whole series? Natsuki estimates by holding her hand high above her head, sizing up an imaginary stack. I should get one of those mangas that, like, 50 volumes long so that I can say I've read more than you. Not that I have the money for that. Please, that would hardly count when your books only have a few words per page. I know, I was just joking. I can never actually read books like yours. It's too boring for me. Yuri shoots a glare at Natsuki. It's not boring. Chill, I said for me, not for you. I can have my own opinion. I just think it's too... convoluted? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. Sayori, are those from the floor? Gross. Also, wash your hands before touching any of my books. My hands aren't dirty. Just do it. The oils are there even if you can't see them. Fine. Sayori trots out of the door, and Natsuki follows. Yuri, you look a little upset. What kind of nerve does she have to call my hobby boring? Well, she did correct herself. Hardly. She was so condescending. I don't mind if she thinks it's not for her. I already understand that it's not for everyone. But she knows, well, how much these mean to me. So how about just leaving me alone instead of needlessly telling me the things you hate about it? I'm sorry, Yuri. You may be right. This won't be the last time people will have strong feelings about what they like and don't like. Especially in a literature club. So I should figure out how to meditate discussions to keep them positive and constructive. For the record, I've always been impressed by the level of creativity in your books, and also your ability to get through them so quickly. Thank you. Okay, well, this is something that I'll have to think about and revisit. I'm sure I can help Natsuki find some common ground with you. Common ground isn't necessary. I wish to be respected. That then, either way, I'll do my best. I'm skeptical when it comes to Natsuki. I trust you, Monica, but I'm skeptical. Good lord, man. Okay, everyone! We have a special club meeting today. As you know, the Literature Club is a place where we get to share things that we're really passionate about. But that also means we should be mindful of how we respond to each other's feelings. I think we have a chance to turn our differences into positive energy for each other. Aren't you being a little dramatic about this? This is important to me. Well, sorry, I just feel like I'm being accused or something. No, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm sorry if I came off that way. But our conversation yesterday made me reflect on the power of language, and I thought it would be a good topic for the Literature Club. Don't you think? I'm sure we're going to have differences in opinion a lot, so I need to make sure we're prepared to keep a positive atmosphere in the club. If you say so. Sure. The cool thing about language is that it gives us a lot of different ways to express the same idea or emotion. We have a lot of control over how we want the other person to feel when receiving our thought. This goes for poetry, narratives, maybe? I don't know. Casual conversation, basically anything. For example, Sayori, what's your favorite food? I have them organized by category. Should I start with snacks, or do you mean full meals? Should I include breakfast? Why does that matter? Why does that matter? Oh, jeez. Okay, how about your favorite fruit? That's easy. Cherries! Really? I always thought cherries tasted nasty. I'm not gonna lie. Back at my, my 21st birthday, I remember trying a cherry, and oh my god, it was nasty. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Tasting the actual fruit itself is nasty. What? Cherries are delicious! Whoa! That's a pretty strong reaction. Well, I just don't understand how somebody could think cherries are nasty. I mean, they are, in my opinion. How does it make you feel? I don't know. Sad? Defensive, maybe? Yeah, I got defensive. See? The reason you have such a strong reaction wasn't just because I don't like cherries. It's because you felt like your opinion was under attack. But that's weird, right? Something like taste is completely subjective. But when I say something like, I think cherries are nasty, I'm using objective language. I'm challenging Sayori's reality that cherries are delicious with my own, which is that cherries are nasty. Wait, hold on. How is that objective when you just said it was your own opinion? It has to do with the way your brain interpret the words. I don't know if I pronounced that word right. You're talking about the reality of the cherries, not your feelings about them. Like Sayori. Let's rewind for a second. And pretend I didn't tell you that I think cherries are nasty. Good. So, what if instead of that I said like, I tried cherries and they're not for me. It's not the kind of flavor I enjoy. Well, that's fine. As long as you don't call them nasty. Nasty is a nasty word. That makes no sense. She just repeated that fucking word twice. In one sentence. Nasty is a nasty word. I can't be asked. Okay, so cherries was kind of a weird example, but I think it gets the point across. This time around, instead of talking about the cherries, I just talked about my feelings, and Sayori didn't get defensive, you know. So instead of clashing with each other, it's like we received an invitation to talk about our differences. Yuri, you don't need to take notes. I'm not gonna quiz you or something. I know that. I was just... sorry. I didn't mean to call you out. You can do whatever you like. But does anyone have any thoughts so far? Yeah, I just feel like I shouldn't have to put all my language through a filter just to protect someone's feelings. Well, you don't have to. The choice is yours on how you want to come across to other people. I'm only suggesting it as a tool to help turn your differences into a positive experience, rather than an argument. Right, Sayori? Whatever you say, cherry hater. Oh my god, oh come on. Sayori, I actually like cherries. I was just saying that to help demonstrate. What the heck? I've been duped. Wait, is that even a real word? What the fuck? I'm not even gonna go there. I'm sorry, Sayori. I'll make it up to you later. How about a cherry sundae? You are welcome to... Oh my god, not this word again. To dupe me anytime, my beloved president. Okay. Buying your people's loyalty. How deplorable. Oh, like you would turn down a free sundae, Yuri? You were certainly a fan of those cupcakes that brought in the other week. That was... I mean... I was reading, not keeping track of them. Oh, that's enough. We're getting off topic. Speaking of cupcakes, that explains the ending of... What is it? Respect between Monika and Natsuki. So, yeah. So now that we have the gist of it, how about we try it with something more relevant to the club? Like manga, right? Let's try to have a productive discussion about our differences in opinion. Yuri, do you want to start? Well, I'd rather not, no. Aw, how come? Well, because I don't see how anything productive can come from that. It's just going to start a fight. No, it'll be fine. That's why I'm here to moderate. Let's just have a calm and rational discussion. Yeah, give me a little more credit. I'm not a child. You don't have to coddle my feelings. I always think it's more respectable to just speak your mind. Respectable. Yuri's expression changes at that word. As Monika recalls, being respected was the crux I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. Of the matter for Yuri. Well, the point of the exercise isn't exactly like, it's fine. I have nothing against anyone personally. You're entitled to enjoy whatever it is you like. I just prefer more depth and nuance. What is with these exotic words that I can't pronounce, man? What the fuck? In my reading material, I look for stories that are imaginative and sophisticated beyond the surface level. Oh, well, that's just a misunderstanding then. I thought you were gonna say that manga's for children or something. Like, I heard enough of that. But there's plenty of deep manga. I'm not clueless about manga. I've read my own fair share when I was younger. What? Are you serious? How come you never told me? Because I'm past that point in my life, and I really prefer not to revisit it. I prefer more mature things now. Excuse me? Okay, hold on. Can I jump in here? Let's try to keep things subjective. Because if you imply that manga is immature, then aren't you implying that someone is immature for being into it? Well, maybe it's immature to judge people for having different tastes than you. Natsuki! Nobody's immature! I read Natsuki's manga and Yuri's fantasy, and I love them both in their own way. Okay. It's great that you like it, but I still find it boring. Boring isn't subjective. Okay, it bores me. That's subjective. But, I mean, the thing about... This is ridiculous. Do you see why I didn't want to participate in this? I knew it was just going to make people upset. I'm not upset. Like I said, I don't care what other people think. But I always got the impression that you secretly looked down upon me, so I'm glad my suspicions were confirmed. That's not true at all. You're making assumptions. You can't blame me for getting defensive when nobody ever has the least bit of respect for the things that I'm into. The only thing I look down upon is when people make fun of me for just being myself and trying to mind my own business. What? Have you looked in the mirror? Tell me again about respect after calling all of my interests immature. You can't. Please stop. Please. Oh no. Every time with Sayori in tears, man. You don't mean the things you're saying right now. Let's just be friends. I didn't mean for this to happen. Well, it did. So please don't invite yourself to try and solve other people's problems next time. Okay? Yuri's piercing words send the club room into a choked silence as she gathers her things. She leaves. Oh no. Holy crap. I've never heard her sound like that before. She must be so pissed. Well, you weren't very nice either, so... I was just saying. How did this happen? It's my fault. Yuri wasn't wrong. I shouldn't have tried to moderate a conflict when I know how bad I am at dealing with conflicts. It was a really stupid thing for me to do. It's nobody's fault, and it wasn't stupid. Everyone in the club is a nice person. Nobody would have expected this. But I guess we're sensitive about the things we really love. Honestly, she kind of brought it upon herself. Like I said, I don't care if you're not into manga, but if you actually look down on other people for it, that's kind of the point I was trying to make in the first place. It's not about sugar-coating things, it's about just recognizing and understanding our differences. Okay, but here's the thing about that. Yuri actually looks down on me. It has nothing to do with her word choice or anything like that. So I see what you're trying to do. But I really think the problem here is her. Not just the way we talk to each other, right? I mean, Yuri isn't like that. She's a lot sweeter than you were giving her credit for. I'm sure she'll be reflecting on this. I actually think everyone should. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out. Wow. I'm just like saying that intensively. I'm just setting myself up to cause more problems. This wasn't your fault, Monika. You don't have to beat yourself up over it. If you ask me, it's good that the truth finally came out. Because I can just move on now. but... it's fine. I promise. Let's just get our mind off this, okay? In fact, it's a good opportunity to read some manga without having to worry about feeling Yuri's superior... I don't know how to pronounce that word. I really don't. Like I said before, I try to, and it doesn't work for me. Maybe because I have a speech impediment. Complex. Don't be mean. I'll talk or read manga or whatever you want, but don't be mean to my friends, okay? Sorry. I'm just bitter. Everything will be okay. I mean, I don't have the answers, but I at least know what we're all good people and don't want to hurt each other. This will be a learning experience. Monika says that, but her uneasiness is given away by how much she has to force the reassuring tone in her voice. This was bound to happen eventually. Natsuki and Yuri have always engaged with each other at the least out of anyone. This is the reason. As Sayori and Natsuki proceed to distract themselves with manga, Monika sighs to herself, unable to shake her worried thoughts. Will the club really have to just come to terms with the fact that some members will be incompatible with each other? Monika desperately doesn't want to admit that, but she knows Sayori doesn't either. But for once, the solution doesn't seem to be in sight. Damn. These side stories are like so sad. You have no idea. Like, they're really damn sad. Anyways, we've already got done with part 1 of Reflection. Let's begin part 2 of Reflection, the story of Yuri and Monika. A new day arrives. Sayori arrives at the clubroom earlier than usual. That is, not late. As she enters, it appears to be empty still. So she sits down at a desk and pulls out a sheet of paper, primed to jot down her thoughts. Sayori has made a habit of scribbling her thoughts and feelings onto paper whenever possible, as it tends to serve as her best inspiration for poetry. I clearly forgot to say, it's either this one or Self-Love when we will unlock the bonus poem of Yuri. So, yeah. My heart feels vacant because a ship sailed away. Yo. Yeah! Natsuki? Natsuki pokes her head out from behind the closet door. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, but it would have been a lot more awkward if I didn't say anything. I doubt you want me listening in on your poetry thing. Yeah. Thanks for realizing that. Should I let you finish that up then? Oh no, it wasn't. I mean, I just do it whenever it's convenient. You're not interrupting. Where's Monika, by the way? Oh, she's out in the hallway. Huh? Why? Well, just in case she runs into Yuri. Sometimes Yuri is too nervous to come into the clubroom by herself, so... Oh. Jeez. Does Yuri really let things bother her for that long? She can't control her feelings. For some people, it's really hard to cope when you get a bad thought in your head. Maybe you can distract yourself for a little while, but as soon as it's just you and your thoughts again, it comes back. I just want us to have a normal club meeting. It's a lot easier to pretend like it never happened if we all just ignore it and move on. I don't want to be bothered by this. It's so stupid. Her opinion of me doesn't matter anyway. Besides, it makes me feel really guilty, and I hate that too. It's okay to have feelings. It doesn't make you weak. Let's figure this out together. Fine. Only because you're good at this stuff. Let's try to come up with a happy scene. Maybe that it'll help us understand where your bad feelings are coming from. Well, I was happy the way things were before we had to have that conversation yesterday. What part of the conversation made you upset? Was it Yuri being mean about the manga? Maybe. I doubt it though. Because my friends and other people make fun of manga all the time, but I just brush it off and ignore them. See, when it comes to me on getting bullied, I can't even do that. Because I'm a real sensitive man. Don't even ask about that. Anyways. But something about it really got to me this time. And I hate that I'm letting that happen. Is it because it came from Yuri? No. Why would that matter? I mean, well, maybe. I hate that she thinks she's so much better than me, just because she likes to pretend to be all sophisticated. Yeah, that's what it is. At least other people decide that they don't like me, or manga, or whatever. But Yuri acts like she's too good to even give it a chance. I'm sorry. Everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, exactly. Would you give Yuri's book a chance? After this? Obviously not. What about before this? Well, I would until I got bored, which wouldn't take very long. But if you actually keep an open mind, then it's not hard to realize that a story can be deep and meaningful without being needlessly complicated. I see. But you know, I like Yuri's books. Yeah, but you like manga more, right? Yuri shakes her head. I like them both. I like them in different ways, but I like them both. Yeah, she likes them both equally. You know, like, she can't decide which one's better between one or the other, you know? I mean, the manga, it's really honest and fun and easy to just, like, go with. And a fantasy has a lot to interpret and uncover, and it's really rewarding to have some good quiet time together with it. But the most important thing is that both the manga and the fantasy are true to themselves. So I love them both. And I think there's room for both of them to be in the same club together. And I just feel like maybe they have more in common than you would think. Oh no, not this music again. How do you get along with everyone so well? I always get into fights with people. Like first it was Monica, then I was new to the club, and then it was you, and now it's Yuri. And I'm always like, oh, that person is being such a jerk. And if they just realized that, then we could at least get along. But nobody else has this problem. I just keep running away from the reality that everybody's just a jerk to me because nobody likes me. And I don't know why. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate it. Natsuki. Sayori puts a comforting hand on Natsuki's shoulder. You're a wonderful person. You deserve to be loved as much as everyone else. Everyone has different ways they like to communicate, you know? And sometimes that makes it harder for us to understand each other. I think that sometimes we get lucky and we make friends who are really good at the same kinds of communication. And it feels like you magically connect with them. But other times, even if both people are really nice, it's easy for them to misunderstand each other or to get the communication wrong. It's something that Yuri struggles a lot with too. It can be really hard. It takes a lot of, like, reflection and self-awareness and vulnerability. I don't know. I'm bad at that one. Vulnerability? I don't know how to pronounce it. I always have to be the strongest. I thought for a second that that word was going to be easy for me. I thought I got it until now. What do you mean? Tell me about the part of you. Well, it sounds stupid, but I'm really used to people being mean to me. Like my friends. And I guess my dad. Like when I don't get good grades or even stupid things like if my room isn't clean. So what am I going to do? Cry about it? If I let myself get upset, then it's just letting them win. I'm better than that. I'm better than all of them. So, things always have to be everyone else's fault. It feels like if something goes wrong, then there's even a tiny hint that it might be my fault then. I just get really angry, and I find ways to blame everything else instead. I hope to God that the power does not go out because it's actually, raining, storming from where I live at, so If the power does go out, then from the bottom of my heart, I am so sorry for letting y'all down. Do you see yourself as better than Yuri? If I said that, then I would just sound really full of myself. No! Our thoughts and our feelings are two different things. Even if we don't like our feelings, we have to understand them. If we want to learn more about themselves. That's a part of vulnerability. I don't know. Vulnerability? Whatever the fuck. You know? Accepting that we have feelings that we don't like. I hate that. My feelings make me a bad person. Because my feelings just want to tell me that I'm so much better than her. That she's a judgmental know-it-all who's stuck in her edgy phase and that I'm just way above that garbage. But I'm terrible for feeling that way. You're not terrible. You are not your feelings. But you are not your feelings. Say that to yourself, out loud. Fine. I am not my feelings! The way that I like to picture it is that those feelings are like your roommates. You live in the same house and you gotta see each other every day. And even if you can't ignore it, even if you can ignore each other most of the time, you're gonna run into each other every now and then, and it's gonna make you feel like poop. So, the other opinion is to get to know each other. You can communicate and learn from each other, and maybe even help catch utter change for the better. Does that help you understand? How do you know so much about this stuff? I just have a roommate that can be really hard to get along with. Called depression. Oh no. Oh no. I wish she didn't say that. Depression? But you're like the happiest person I know. I am not my feelings. I want to be a good person like you. Aww, you little sweetheart. Oh my god. We're all good people. You and Yuri and Monika. And I think Yuri will eventually learn that about you. Natsuki remained silent, feeling a little overwhelmed. Despite Yuri's kind reassurance, a complicated mixture of pain and sadness seems to fill her, as though flowing from a wound inside her. Was it a result of her vulnerability? No. It wasn't as though she was inflicted a wound after becoming vulnerable. I don't know. It was as though she began to rediscover an old wound. That one that cannot simply be bandaged and left alone any longer. I don't get why... Like, what does this have to do with Sayori and Natsuki? If this is about Yuri and Monika. You know, this side story. Anyways. Yuri, what are you doing all the way over here? I was looking for you. Please don't yell at me. Oh, I'm not going to yell at you. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. It was unfair for me to put everyone on the spot like that. Next time I won't try to jump in and solve everyone's problems. I guess it's a bad habit of mine. You're not mad at me? I thought you were the one mad at me. I was so awful yesterday. Yuri curls up, recalling the details of the argument. I can't even have a normal conversation without saying something wrong and making everyone upset. Hold on. That's not what happened at all. Let's talk about this, okay? Yuri pauses for a second and manages a nod. Monika takes a seat next to her on the staircase. I'm having a lot of negative thought patterns, and I can't get away from them. What kinds of negative thought patterns? Like everyone hates me, especially Natsuki. Aw, that's terrible. I don't think Natsuki hates you. How do you know? Well, because Monika thinks back to the time that she herself found herself in an altercation with Natsuki, and how a display of maturity from Monika was enough for Natsuki to reevaluate her own feelings as well. I think Natsuki is just naturally defensive. I think she acts mean when she feels the need to protect herself. But you know, she's really not a bad person. In fact, I think she can be really thoughtful and considerate. She's just, well, I guess the way it works is that she wants to receive some degree of kindness first before she feels comfortable returning it. Oh. But that means the burden is on me. And I don't know how to say things that make people like me. Every time I open my mouth, Yuri shakes her head at herself and tugs on her hair. It's okay, Yuri. You don't need to beat yourself up. I think anyone would like you if they had the chance to get to know you. Well, unfortunately, the opposite is true. That's why I'm not talkative anymore in the first place. Because everyone used to think I was weird and talk about me behind my back. That's just what happens when I draw attention to myself. Natsuki even said she found it more respectable when people speak their mind. So I did, and then she hated me anyway. That was enough to confirm my fears. But Sayori and I like you, and we've gotten to know you a lot by now, right? Yuri doesn't seem to have a response. Hey, what do you think of Natsuki? I don't think about her. That's not what I meant, really. I was just wondering if you had an opinion of her. I do. What is it? Natsuki seems to bring out the worst in me, and I feel really ashamed of it. I like to think of myself as a fairly sophisticated person. So for someone to just treat me like I'm inferior, despite my tastes, that's just the worst kind of insult coming from someone like her. And it makes me think bad things about her. But everyone else seems to like her. So the only explanation is that it's me who's doing something wrong again. And my feelings about her are wrong. And I'm wrong to get upset over something so childish and inconsequential. No, Yuri. Feelings are never wrong. Well, they're not right. That's the thing. Feelings are never right or wrong, you know. They're just a state of being that we don't always have control over. But that doesn't mean they have to control us. I feel like that's something I learned around when I first started the club. We can hate ourselves for feeling a certain way about things. Or we can, you know, just acknowledge that they exist and try to understand them better. I can never be mad at you for just feeling a certain way. It's about how you handle them. And I think working through feelings is a great opportunity for teamwork. Yuri wears a dejected expression. Sorry, I had to yawn. You make it sound so easy. It's so mature. I don't know if I read that right. Hold up. You're so mature. Okay. And so good with people. I feel like such a child in comparison. Oh, Yuri. I'm far from perfect. But these are learned skills. They didn't come naturally to me either. It's really hard to like reflect on yourself and separate your feelings from your thoughts. I just want to be a good person. Well, I think it takes a good person to get this far. That's not good enough. I want to be able to communicate it to her. Communicate what? How I feel. How it makes me feel frustrated and upset when she's so negative and dismissive of the things that mean so much to me. And how it reminds me of me. Because I know what it's like to feel misunderstood and angry at everyone. I know that telling yourself you're better than everyone else is just a defense mechanism? I don't know how to pronounce that word. We're just people. We're fragile and unstable. But I'm just tired of that getting in the way. I can't stand it when the peace is disturbed like this. Yeah. You can't focus on your reading when the peace is disturbed, right? Because the literature club should be happy for everyone. Maka looks at Yuri in adoration. don't know if I pronounced that right. I feel like Sayori must be rubbing off on me, because I really want to hug you now. Sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. No, I mean, well, if you wanted to, then I wouldn't really mind, so Monika pulls Yuri into a short embrace. You're so gentle. And I love you, and I love when you communicate your feelings. I feel lucky to get to see that side of you, and I'm sure Natsuki will too. I'm going to write her a letter. Oh, a letter? What a great idea. Just because I'm not good at talking, especially under pressure. I always let my feelings get the best of me, and I forget to say all the important things, and I say things I don't mean. Well, I think a letter would be wonderful. Such a nice way to communicate. Yuri's face hardens with determination. People don't naturally gravitate towards me like they do for you and Sayori. My personality just isn't suited for that, and I wouldn't want it to be. But nothing I've learned is that friendships don't always magically appear out of thin air. For instance, I never would have seen myself making friends with someone like Sayori. We're opposite in a lot of ways, but I'm friends with her because she puts so much effort into understanding me so that we can get along. I think it was the same with you. You both gave me a lot of time and patience, and I wonder if she feels the same way. Natsuki, Yuri nods. I always thought that if I wanted to make more friends, I had to be somebody that I'm not. That there's a type of person or a magical formula I have to follow in order to make someone like me. And that's just like me to think that. Always so occupied with myself that I fail to understand other people. Yuri shakes her head. Friendships happen when you think about the other person. When you offer time and effort to understand them, and respect them, and trust that they also want to be a good person. That's what I learned through my observations in the literature club. Observations? Monika is caught by surprise. Yuri has always kept to herself so much that it's so unusual to hear her suddenly talking about the club like this. But Yuri gently smiles to herself. You always let me listen to your thoughts about people. Sayori too. And it makes me happy, because I learn a lot of things. That's so sweet. I had no idea it meant that much to you. Monika never thought much of it. But in the past weeks, Yuri always seemed to be especially attentive when it came to the problems and concerns of others. Always wanting to listen and learn more about her friends in the club. It's true. Sayori and Monika are more comfortable with other people and can more easily work through situations of conflict. But that doesn't make them better people. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and the capability or capacity to improve. And the first step towards improving oneself is reflection and self-awareness. It's something that Yuri never gave herself enough credit for, but that Monika can recognize as an incredible trait. And with that, her confidence in the club is restored. A very shy girl with long, pretty hair is wandering in bustling lunchtime hallways, her fists pressed into her collarbone. When she finds the literature club president's classroom, she stands at the door, glancing all around her before peering inside. Monika is sitting and chatting with a group of unknown friends. Yeah, as expected, this was a bad idea after all. Suddenly, Monika glances towards the door, making the girl panic and duck out of sight. Before she can regain composure and decide for sure to leave, the classroom door gently opens. Yuri, what a surprise to see you during lunch. Yuri squeaks a response. Please help me. What? Is everything okay? Yuri shakes her head. I don't know how to write letters. Thank goodness. I thought there was some kind of emergency. Monika briefly glances over her shoulder at her other friends. Do you want some help? We can go find an empty classroom or something. Is that okay? I feel bad taking you away from your friends. It's totally fine, I promise. We weren't really doing anything. One sec. Monika trots back to her classroom, says something like I gotta go to her friends, then grabs a pen off her desk before returning to Yuri. Okay, let's find somewhere quiet. Yuri nods and follows Monika as the two of them set off. How are you today? Huh? Me? Well, yes. Oh gosh, sorry. I was just caught off guard. I'm doing well today, just tired. I never seem to get enough sleep during the week. How come? Oh, I don't know. I think I'm just easily distracted. I get really sucked into things and start neglecting the time. Me too. I do that too. Hey, this classroom is empty. Let's go in here. After peering inside, Monika opens the classroom door and the two of them enter. Yuri's moment of relaxation ends. She watches as Monika pulls two chairs up to the same desk, then obeys as Monika beckons to her and takes a seat. She stares down at the empty desk. You nervous? I don't want to do this. We don't. We don't have to. We can come up with something else. Yuri shakes her head. It's my chance to do something good. I need to take initiative? I don't know. Gosh, she must be really determined. I know how hard it is to step out of your comfort zone. I'll be sure to encourage you. Yuri pushes through her anxiety and grabs a handful of lined paper from her notebook. Then she picks up her pen. Oh, wow. Wow. Well, I didn't realize she was left-handed. I thought she was right-handed. Anyways. Hey, you're left-handed. That's neat. Oh, what the fuck? I just said that. I didn't even realize what she said until now. Yeah. Now I don't have to worry about bumping your arm. Monika playfully rubs her shoulder against Yuri's. Sorry. I'm just being silly, I guess. Anyway, how about we start listing the different things you want to say to her? Yuri thinks. I feel embarrassed all of a sudden. Oh, it's okay. How about some of the things you said to me yesterday? But, never mind. I guess I'll try. Yuri thinks for a moment longer, her tension evident. Then she writes the word reflection. Hey, that's the title of this side story. This is about my reflection on our behavior. The key question is why we act like this towards each other, but have been able to separately be friends with Sayori and Monika. That's me. Yeah, it is. So, Yuri thinks. I've been able to befriend the two of you because you've taken the time to understand my needs and respect my interests. The same goes for Natsuki too. We started off as pretty hostile to each other because I was so worried about getting what I wanted, but she just wanted to be respected more than anything else. Once I stopped making it all about me, she was able to do the same. I want to do that too. So what kinds of things do you want to do for her? I want to do the same things for her that I like to receive. Like, I like it when people respond positively to the things I talk about and not just brush me off. I like it when my feelings are taken seriously. And I like when you and Sayori trust that I want to be a good person, even when I'm not doing a good job at it. Let's write those things down. Okay. Yuri writes some things down. I think the most important thing to remember here is that Natsuki is feeling vulnerable. I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced. So we should make sure that the letter puts her first. It's hard when you're feeling hurt, but it never helps to just tell someone all the things that they're doing wrong. I think first you have to make sure that they know you're ready to respect them and listen to them and admit the things that you feel you could do better. And finally, you ask what you would like in return. How does that sound for the structure? It could be 3 paragraphs one for each of those points. I like that. My thoughts were so disorganized. I had no idea how to come up with any kind of structure. You're so amazing at these things. Oh, stop. You've done so much more than I have, you know. You spent so much time reflecting and being open-minded. That's the hardest thing for anyone to do. All I'm doing is helping you put it on a piece of paper. So I think you're the amazing one. Monika gives Yuri's hand a quick squeeze. But as she lets go, she's caught by surprise when Yuri curls her finger to hook Monika's hand in place. For a while, they sit like that in silence, save for the occasional scratching of Yuri's pen against the paper. Yesterday, you told me something that I was thinking about a lot. What was that? The thing about how feelings aren't right or wrong, and that they're just a state of being we need to come to terms with. It made me think about how a person's behavior isn't always just how they decide to be. It's also made up of their past experiences and their insecurities. I think that helps me see other people as actual people, rather than as insignificant side characters who are out to get me somehow. Is that how you felt about Natsuki? Yuri nods. But in reality, everyone is always trying their best, and everyone wants to be happy. Monika peers over at Yuri's paper, but to her surprise, Yuri pulls it in closer, partially, I don't know if I pronounced that right, covering it with her arm. Have to be able to read it to help out, you know. It's okay. My thoughts are a lot more organized now. After being able to talk to you about it, now that I'm actually putting it on paper, I realize I'd really prefer others not to read it. Yuri laughed softly to herself, a rare expression. I'm kinda glad to hear that, actually. I somehow keep finding ways to butt into this whole thing. I've done enough damage. But it's also been so wonderful talking about this. I mean, I always thought you were really smart, but Yuri smiles. I will always be terrible at these things. People are just so incomprehensible to me. I'll never get the hang of being one. But listening to you so much has really helped me make sense of some things. So just don't call it damage, please. Monika gives Yuri a gentle smile. I can't believe I came to this club looking for fantasy geeks, and that all I got was real friends who value me. Is that a joke? Of course it is. Haha, I still can't tell with you. Sorry. No, I love it. Please never change. As you wish. Yuri glances at the clock. We're almost out of time. Will you be able to finish? Before the end of the day, probably. But I don't want to come to the club the same day that Natsuki reads it. I'm too shy. I can't give it to her. Instead, if you like. Yuri nods. As long as you promise not to read it. Of course, I promise. Thank you. Yuri exhales, and then the two stand up. I'll message you when it's ready. Monika nods. Good luck. I'm here if you need me. Yuri returns a nod, and the two depart. Oh! Oh, wait a minute. Hang on a second. Got another mail. Oh, fuck's sake. As a reminder to help guide our data collection, any analysis, I don't know, performed should be focused on answering some of these main questions. How does granting elevated across to the VM affect a person's emotional state? How does granting elevated access to the VM affect the person's values and goals? How does someone effectively navigate and experiment with their ability to change the contents of their VM? How is elevated, I don't know, access being weaponized? What actions and values most contribute to the destruction of the universe? Most importantly, how might your observations apply to your own universe? Bonus, how can we present to this to upper management as an operation that benefits the company? Unrelated note, whoever changed the color scheme of the desktop to pink, can you please change it back? It's unprofessional and it ruins the risk of drawing eyes. Okay. That's kind of weird. So apparently to, oh wow, look at that. Mad. Okay, well then. That's all the wallpapers. There's 3 more poems left. I think 2 of them are about to be, these 2 right here, unlocked, and I don't think I'll be able to unlock this one anytime soon. So apparently, all of Yuri's poems will have to be tomorrow with self-love. And I still gotta do the secret poems as well. I don't think I'll be able to get 100% complete on this, you know. But yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much it. If you homies enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, comment, turn on the bell icon so you can be notified I upload videos. Coming to you tomorrow will be Self-Love, Part 6. The story between Natsuki and Yuri. And you can be the first to watch, like, and post a comment. Check me out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The links are in the description down below. And as always, it's your homeboy Steven Lucido, signing out. Later, Holmes. I did not mean to back out right there. I didn't.